Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Well, there's no one yet. Um, Welcome on Friday, Easter Friday. So I'm not actually sure if many people will be able to join, but providing we are all staying at home, maybe you will find some time to join. I will have a little bit of coffee. So I will start. My name is Victoria Florek and I'm an abstract painter, a creative entrepreneur. I'm a mom, wife. I live in Spain, but originally I'm from Poland. And this is Studio Talks, where I share behind the scenes from my creative business and art practice and what's going on in the studio. And today we will also talk about self-confidence and how I build my own self-confidence as artist. So behind the scenes, what's going on in the studio. So actually there is not that much going on because obviously we are staying at home. Everything is closed here in Spain, especially like nothing is open. And what I'm working right now is something that I'm so passionate and excited about, because I'm preparing workshops for artists or creatives. We have the first person joining. Hi, Mary. Hello, how are you? Happy to have you here. So I was just explaining what I'm working right now in the studio. It's not really in the studio because I'm working at home, preparing those workshops for artists and creatives, and that cover a couple of things that I believe are just the basis to thrive. And those workshops will cover self-awareness, mindset, and painting. Painting, well, I will of course show you the way I paint and the way I create exciting paintings, and how I, how I follow my voice in painting so that you can do the same. And today I want to talk about self-confidence, which is actually a big part of self-awareness. And to start with, I just want to say that this is based on my own experience. I'm of course not a coach, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a therapist. Hi, hello, welcome. So it's something I was building myself for over 9 years, because that's when I actually started working on my self-confidence. Before, I was not even aware I was lacking self-confidence, and that was something that may actually be true to many of us, that we build our self-confidence based on external factors. Like if we, at school for example, if we get good notes, then like everyone says, oh, you're so intelligent, and so on and so on. If you get bad notes, then you have that sticker that maybe you are stupid or whatever, and we don't actually analyze it deeper, and say, okay, maybe you got a bad note in that signature, but that's really not something you're interested in, and it has nothing to do with your own worth and with your own value. So 9 years ago, I started really kind of paying attention to myself and to who I am, and trying to build that self-confidence. And I was struggling a lot. That's why I'm so passionate about this topic, and I want to tell you a little bit through what I experienced myself, and how I finally managed to build that. And I really hope and want it to be inspirational, and not to take it, literally, everything that I'm telling you. And everyone should take from what I will explain what resonates to you and what feels right to you, because that's really all about it. We are all different, we have different values, we have different gifts, different talents, we have different backgrounds, we are raised in different ways, we had different parents. Also our self-confidence often comes from how we were raised, and so on. So you really just be open. I hope what I'm going to say will maybe open a little bit the way you see some things and give you a different perspective on some things. There may be things that will be applicable to you, there may be things that will not work for you at all, and that's totally fine, because in the end that's how it works. Also, I believe that if there is something that you really struggle with, I don't know, some difficult experience or some, let's say, even trauma or whatever, there may be a possibility that you will not be able to go through that yourself. And then I really encourage to seek help, to go to a therapist, or if it's not that severe, maybe get a coach. There might be coaches that work for you and coaches that don't work for you. I personally work with 4 coaches, and 3 of them absolutely didn't work for me, and I thought even that the coaching is not for me. But then I came up with another girl that actually offered, is my friend, who became a coach after being a scientist. And she offered me to coach me, and I was like, no, really, it's a waste of time for me because it never worked for me. So I'm really sorry, but I think I'm not gonna do that. And she said, yeah, try. And then I tried, and that was really amazing, and she helped me really much. Her name is Zuzanna Borek, and I see her husband is here with me. Hello. And she coaches as Fierce Unicorn. So if you seek for a coach, you may see what she's doing and see if that fits for you. So confidence. What is confidence? Confidence is something that is really unique to you, and everyone will have a different. It's your ability to believe in yourself, and the factors that actually make you believe in yourself may be different for each of us. And it really comes to feeling worthy, whatever the external circumstances are, and not needing to have that reaffirmations and reconfirmations from the external world. Like, you create art, and you own it, and you you're good, your work is worth, how much to charge for it, and you own the price you put, and you feel confident with that. No matter if people are buying, no matter if people are paying that, you just know that that's right and that's what you want to do, and you are kind of sure of it. So that's kind of self-confidence. Of course, it's very easy to be confident if whatever you do just brings success, but we all know that that's not true. And the point is to be confident even if we are not succeeding, to have that faith and that belief and that persistence that it will work out, that you will figure it out no matter what. And that's what I want to show you today, how I did it, because I had a lot of doubts myself. And confidence comes, for me, it's totally related to self-awareness and self-knowledge. Knowing yourself, it's really key to be confident. And the first question I believe it's worth to ask yourself, and you can maybe even write it down, is what do you think about yourself right now? And to be honest with that. Getting to know yourself and connecting with yourself has a lot to do with being also honest with yourself, which sometimes may be terrifying, or it may be we cannot we may not want to hear ourselves talking about ourselves, because often it's even painful, but it's very important to be true and honest. So what do you think about yourself? How do you feel about yourself? Because you can say, like, I don't know, I'm stupid, I will never manage that, like, this work I don't know, it's not good enough, or I will never sell anything. I'm really referring to some examples on art, but it can really be about anything. So just write down whatever comes to your mind. And, then try to think about, like, okay, what do I need to feel confident? So now I will give you my examples. So what I was thinking about myself when I was first starting out, and it was really, throughout many years, basically, because I did struggle to go over that. So first, I was really insecure about following my own goals, and I never. It's not that I didn't have the belief that I will achieve the goals. It was rather I didn't really know if that goals were right. So I was insecure about my own decisions. ¿Cómo descubriste que querías ser artista? How did you discover that you wanted to be an artist? Well, that's a totally different story. Maybe I will make a studio talks about that, but I will not talk about it today. So, that uncertainty, lack of clarity, what I should do, and if you are not clear about your goals, it's also difficult to kind of achieve them. What else? I had the belief that if I'm not making a full-time living as an artist, then I'm not a true artist. And that was a little bit of my complex, and I didn't feel sure about what I was doing, about what I was charging, and it felt very draining to me. Another thing about my art business, because along the path I was also discovering what type of artist I want to be, like if I want to go to the gallery, be self-represented, and so on. So once I decided I want to be self-represented artist and make a business out of it, then I had also a struggle, because I was told externally that if your business is not bringing you profit, then you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And honestly, for me, for years, my business was not bringing any profit. It was actually, I was investing all the time. I was showing art fairs. I was, creating exhibitions, investing in my skills, in learning about business, learning about painting, taking a lot of courses, investing in the art supplies, and so on and so on. So I was not selling that much at that time, and it really felt disempowering, that belief. Another thing I was thinking about myself is that because I have a degree in economics, I have a master degree in economics, but I don't have any official degree in art, and I was feeling often like a fraud, like trying, how can I call myself an artist if I don't have an art degree? Then another thing that was making me feel not confident was comparing to others, and that was very related to not knowing myself well and what I wanted. I thought everyone is so advanced and I will never be able to reach them. Feeling guilty for not doing enough, and wanting always to do more and more and more, and feeling like I'm not doing enough, this is not working because I should try more, I should work harder, I'm not working hard enough. I don't post enough, I don't paint enough, I don't sell enough, I don't write enough newsletters and all that stuff, everything that you should be doing and a lot, and that all successful people do all the time, and you just, cannot manage it yourself. Expectations, which I often had too high expectations and totally, absolutely not realistic expectations, and it also, again, came into not, knowing myself, my priorities and my values. So, being confident is to knowing you are enough. Like, I'm enough, I'm worth it, I do enough, I have enough, believing in yourself, believing in your decisions. And you know why it is so important? Because if you have doubts and uncertainties, and as you can see, I had a lot of them, it's very difficult for you to truly and authentically share your passion. And that's what actually selling is about. Selling is about, it's not about selling and saying I have this, buy it. It's about showing that showing your vision, showing your passion, showing your your truth, and then people will be attracted and will follow you and will want to be part of that. And it's not even about having a good painting, because you can have a wonderful painting, but then if you don't have that fire inside that you can set on others, let's say, and be contagious about your passion, then it's very difficult that people will pay attention to you at all. Because it's very rare that someone sees a painting and falls in love with it so much that will buy it. People really buy an idea and also a feeling that is behind that. And in order that you can transmit it genuinely, you need to be confident. And I'm not only saying that you really need to, talk about it that much and so on. It's also about the energy and the alignment you are yourself in. And I will give you an example. For example, when I had all that insecurities and I was posting something, I was kind of embarrassed about posting it. And I was actually praying that no one sees it. So, if you do it with such an energy, really no one will see it and no one will buy it, even though this is the most beautiful painting ever. So you need to have inside that energy that will inspire. And I believe that the energy is enough, but you need to feel it inside. And you cannot feel it if you don't think about yourself well, and if you don't think about what you're doing well. So being on fire is the key. And to be on fire, you need to be in alignment with yourself. You need to, set into your own frequency and tune into your own frequency. And how do you do it, and why are we so disconnected often? Because we don't know ourselves, because we look at ourselves through eyes of others, and we look for and seek for that acceptance and so on. And if we don't get it, then we feel not worthy. And this should be the opposite. We should have it from inside. So I will tell you how I kind of put all the puzzles in the right places in my head, so that I finally have that. And saying that, I want to mention one more thing. I didn't become confident because I became successful, or I started selling, or I started making a living out of painting or whatever. I actually started selling paintings once I became confident. It's really so linked. Sometimes we need to go to therapy to discover this acceptance in our heart. Of course, yes, definitely. I went to therapy myself as well before I actually started painting, and that's what helped me connect with my emotions. I will answer maybe a little bit the question that was before. So I started connecting to myself, and that's when I realized I wanted to paint. But then, I still, we have so many layers, and things are layered inside of us that that sometimes the process can be long, and that's fine. That's totally fine, and that's what we also need to accept. That self-discovery is actually never-ending story. I'm discovering things about myself every day. And building the self-confidence, it's not that you do it once and then you forget about it, because life is creating contrast for you and things that challenge yourself so that you can even expand more. And the key is that awareness and the tools, the right tools to actually manage that. Okay. I will give you my steps. So the first thing in my self-discovery journey was to actually discover who am I, knowing myself, talking to myself, knowing my thoughts, paying attention to my thoughts. What am I thinking? Even if I didn't like them, and not judging them, just looking at them and choosing, like, do I like this thought? Does this thought serve me, or it doesn't serve me? If it doesn't serve me, then how would I like to think about myself? Talking to that inner critic, and I do it still, like, daily. Okay, maybe not every day, but because I don't have that inner critic that often anymore. But every time I do something new, like now with these workshops, then this inner critic, activates. Because what happens with our inner critic? I explained it already in the stories, but I will say that again. Our inner critic is activates whenever we are outside our comfort zone. And that's actually a good thing, because if you have your inner critics, then it means that you're doing something new and you're going outside your comfort zone. So every time you're outside your comfort zone, you will find them. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a good thing. The question is to know how to deal with it and have the right tools. So it was talking to myself, and also accepting that we have different facets, and we have so many roles in our life that we need to kind of combine, and sometimes it feels a little bit schizophrenic, and it felt for me that way often, because juggling between all the roles we have, and in my case it's, for example, being an artist, painting, being a mom, having a family, being wife, being an entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur, it means like, I'm a solo entrepreneur. I don't have anyone that would be helping me with stuff. So it's really designing, writing copy, writing newsletters, setting the websites, putting the products. So it's really so many things. All of this could be a separate job. And on top of that, I'm also an auditor, which is like completely separate and different word. And sometimes, like often, it was in conflict, and I was not accepting that I have that many facets, and I just wanted to be a painter, like to paint, and that's it. Also important in that case is that if you enter some new role, to kind of define it for yourself. And I had to redefine myself every time I was entering a new role. So when I became a mom, I had to, see where it sits within my life. It really doesn't happen that naturally. You need to give it a thought. It's not like maybe we are told that it's natural, that you're naturally a mom. No, you're not naturally a mom. You need to define what motherhood really means to you. What type of mother do you want? What values do you want to give to your child, and so on. So the same. And I'm talking about something that is as natural as being a mom. And what about being a painter? This is a huge job to define what it means for you to be a painter, to be an artist, and so on. So really like digging and digging and digging and defining. And once I finally defined it at the level that I was happy with, I felt at ease, and I felt, I accepted those facets. But to accept them, I also needed other points that I will continue to explain you. So the next point, okay, this was the first one, knowing who am I and defining, the roles you have and what they mean to you, and looking at them like a little bit from an external, as an external consultant, asking what it really means to me, like how describing it, saying, okay, what else does it mean? Like, how do you want to feel in that role? Like me as an artist, how do you want to feel? I want to feel inspiring. I want to uplift. I want to feel uplifted myself, having that role. I don't want to feel like drained and depressed and sad and giving pity to people because I'm a poor starving artist. No, that's totally different. So the second point is my values and priorities, and that was really that changed everything, because once I defined the values, I could define what is my priority and really get that focus and clarity I needed to make a good decisions and to focus on what's really important to me. I could let go everything that was not a priority for me, and that everyone tells you that you should do so many things. You can easily say, no, I don't, it's not my priority, it's not my value, I really don't have to do that, it's okay. And for example, one of things I decided is that I only run one project at a time. So if I'm auditing, I'm just auditing. I don't do other stuff, I just focus on that. If my kid is sick and I'm sitting with her at home, my priority is to be with her. I don't do other stuff. If I by chance have a little bit of time and I feel strong enough and have enough energy, then I might do something, but it's not my priority. If I work on a collection, I work on a collection. If I paint, I just paint. I don't distract myself or this and that and that. But it really comes to deciding for yourself, and you can decide once you know your values and your priorities. So that's really key. Then the third point, that's also key. Knowing what you want, what you like, and knowing what you don't want and don't like. And really, it comes to making a list. Like, make a list, and everything. Sometimes maybe you can even struggle with defining what you want, because if you never talk to yourself and pay attention to yourself, it can be difficult. So start with things you don't want and you don't like. And I will give you an example. Like, for example, for me, this is also one of my values. What I really want in my life is freedom. And I think that's what all of us really in the end want: freedom and happiness. And for me, freedom was related to two aspects. I felt free when I could paint whenever I wanted and be with my family whenever I wanted. And now the fact that I had to do another job like auditing was a little bit in conflict with that, because I felt that I actually couldn't paint every day, because when I was doing audit and I couldn't paint. But then I made a list of things I didn't want, and I realized I don't want to paint every day. And I was like kind of life-changing. I was like, I don't want to paint every day. Like, painting whenever I want doesn't mean that I want to paint every day and all the time. The same with my family. It doesn't mean I want to be all the time with my family, because that would be too much. We have that right now, and of course it's awesome, it's amazing. But I miss also my space and stuff like this. So you probably know what I'm talking about. So it's really important to make that list. And actually, the things you don't want and you don't like are defining and helping you define what you want in your life. Because without those things, you will not know what you want. And I will give you another example here. Why I knew I didn't want to be with galleries. Because I actually didn't like things, and didn't want in my life things that would lead me to be with a gallery, which are making exhibitions, creating exhibitions. I didn't like the process of, applying to different art contests, to residencies, and stuff like this. It really felt to me like applying to a job, which I already have experience with that. I had a job. I don't want to have another job and working for someone and having to fit somewhere. It really didn't feel right to me. Maybe in the future, when I'm at the level that the galleries will fight for me, which I hope will happen one day, and when I will be able to work with a gallery on my own terms and have the freedom in creating the work I want, and they will still be able to sell it because I already have a name, then maybe I will consider it. But right now, this is not right for me. So, making that list. Number 4, knowing my context and accepting it. So sometimes I was thinking, like, if I started painting when I was young, and starting my career like as in my 20s and so on, then that would be so much easier, because I had much less needs than I have now. I started painting when I was 29, and of course when I was 29 I was already thinking about having a family, and I was getting married, thinking about having kids, and I really didn't have that space to be poor, let's say. And when you start out, and you just want to do that thing, that's what it requires a little bit, to be honest. You'll not make thousands when you just start out. And when I was a student, when I was in my 20s, I could easily live for 200 euros a month. But at the age of 29, that was impossible, because I already had a certain level. I was earning very well in my audit job, and I didn't want to lose it. So if that was my context, that I needed a certain amount of money to live the life I want to live, and art couldn't provide it, then I had to accept it. And what helped me accept it is what I discovered in the previous steps, is that freedom doesn't mean painting all the time, and that I have an audit job where I have the flexibility right now, because I'm self-employed as an auditor, where I can decide how much I work, and I usually work 1 or 2 weeks a month, and then I have 3 or 2 weeks to work on my art. And that's actually a perfect combination, which I accept at this moment, because I don't want to live for 200, 300 or 400 euros a month, basically. And yeah, I could say I live full-time out of painting, but then I'm poor, and so, no, I don't want that. I don't want that insecurity in my life, because I have family. So, that's my context and I accept it. Another thing in my life is that I live in a small town close to Barcelona. So, how I discovered I don't want to go to art exhibitions and do all that networking. It's because Barcelona is 20 or 30 minutes away. And I didn't really feel like going there to go to that shows, and also I don't like that much networking. I'm now a family person. It's also the question of age. When I was 20, I was outgoing and going to parties, and I would love to be at all the exhibitions that are going on in the city, but now no. So that's my context. I'm 36 and really I want to be with my kid at home, and that's my reality, that's my context, and I accept it. Before I was looking at other art careers and saying, oh, I would like this and that, but then there is always a price you have to pay for that, and you need to think, to know yourself enough to be aware if you want to pay that price or not, and be happy with that. That's okay. That's really okay, because it's you that define how your life looks like, And of course, you never can have everything. You always say yes to something, and then that means you say no to something else. And that's totally fine. I feel like I listen to myself. I do virtual assistant job as my daily job. Later I paint, record a podcast, develop my own creative project. Yeah, exactly. I think we are all kind of, people that are creative, I knew once a guy that was a sculptor, and he could define himself like, I'm a sculptor, and I envied him so much, saying like, how can you so easily define yourself as just one thing? Like, I'm so many things. I cannot say, I wish I could say I'm a painter, and just that, and that would feel so empowering to me. But then I had to feel empowered, even though I was so many different other things as well. So exactly what you say. Yeah, exactly. Point number 5, knowing your strengths. And when I say your strengths, I again don't mean skills or things that are learned. I mean the natural, your most natural way of doing things, the natural way of thinking, the natural way you the things that come to you so easily that you don't even pay attention to them, that they feel even silly, they are so easy to you. So that's actually gold, and being aware of that gives you so much power as well. And this comes to asking yourself questions like, what gives me a thrill? When I feel excited, when I do what, and on contrary, when I feel drained, like which parts of the jobs or things I was doing or things I think I should do are sucking the energy out of me. Those are the things where, then maybe could be less of a priority in your life. And yes, sometimes we have to do things that are draining to us, trying to do less of that and focus. And maybe if you have a possibility to delegate it to someone, then delegate it, or do just less of that if possible. And for me, for example, honestly, this was one of the hardest questions ever, and I couldn't figure it out myself. I figured out through the test. I did a Gallup StrengthsFinder test, and I was so disconnected from myself and from my own strengths that when I did that test and I read the results, I was like, what? This is not me. Like, I don't have any of that, this is not me. I am totally different. And then 5 years later, I saw the test again, and I felt like, okay, I will give it another try. And I did the test again because I didn't trust the results of the first test. and the results were almost the same. Like maybe one talent was a little bit switched somewhere, but it was basically pretty similar, like in 99%. And then I started thinking, okay, maybe I should pay closer attention to that. And once I did, I realized that, it switched my perspective on so many things, and it finally made sense to me. And now whatever I do, like my why to whatever I do, really sits into those in those talents. So, like for example, why I'm doing right now those studio talks, and why I'm doing the workshops. It's because one of my natural talents is input and learner, which means I have a huge knowledge because I'm all the time learning. And the way I learn is that I just learn practical things, I put them into practice, and then I use them and I see what works. I also have a strategic talent in my top 5, which means I can, quickly kind of see what works, what doesn't work, and have conclusions and so on. And the way I can actually very well use those talents is by sharing what I've learned. And I craved to share my knowledge and my experience for so many years, but I always felt not enough, that I don't know enough, that I'm not good enough, that I don't have enough success, and so on and so on. So, discovering those talents and understanding how I can use them, that would serve me because I feel satisfied, and serve others, is by sharing it. And that's what I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing right now what I'm doing. That's what all the studio talks is about, and what the workshops will be about. Another one is my vision. I'm a visioner, so I have a vision, and I have a vision that is actually my why for my painting. So this is a powerful part. And the last one is being aware of what's the price. We have 15 minutes more. What's the price you need to pay for things you think you want in your life? Because sometimes or often when you see the price you need to pay for that, you may decide you actually don't want that in your life. And often we want things, we don't succeed in that, and we feel like a failure. And that is because we again lack that self-awareness. So it's important, the price you need to pay and the price you actually want to pay. And defining the price you want to pay comes back again to your values and your priorities, and what's important to you in this moment. Because maybe you are hustling to pay the price that is against your values, and you don't feel good about it. And if you don't feel good about something, then it doesn't bring results. So it all comes to aligning things, and asking yourself questions, going deeper and deeper and deeper, and talking to your inner critic, and defining yourself, defining your life, so that you can say you live it on your own terms, and you can do things with passion that it deserves, and you can be contagious to others with your own power and passion. So tools. What are the tools to help you with that self-discovery? So first tool I use, and I use it already for many years, is journaling and writing down my thoughts. Whenever I feel negative about something, I just write down what comes to my mind. Then I ask questions. It depends what is it about. So one type of questions that I ask, like, if it's a saboteur that comes that really attacks me, I'm like, or my idea or something, I'm asking like, is it true? Is there do I have evidence for that? Is it a fact? And so on and so on. And if it's something more general or some kind of mindset thing, I'm like, does it serve me? Like that, is it something that like gives me the value? Does it make me feel good or bad? And also always the origin of your thoughts, the origin of your negative emotions is your thought, of course, and then the thought comes from your mind, from your saboteurs and from your ego, or whatever it is, maybe from some kind of beliefs from outside, and the fact that you chose to believe it is because you have there is some kind of payoff to believe that. And I had an example of that. Let me see. Because right now I forgot. Wait. Yeah, I have a great example. Painting is not the painting is not a job for me because it doesn't bring me money. And now let me find my papers. How did I? Oh no, I don't have. So what was the payoff for me? And the payoff may not always be something you actually want to hear. So for me, for example, is that I wanted to punish myself for not making enough money from my work, and push myself to make even more effort and to hustle more. And then I asked myself, okay, does it really serve me? Does it serve me that I'm punishing myself for not making enough money out of my work? And for putting more effort? Do I want that in my life and for myself? And I said, no. And what I truly want, I want to be I have it written in Polish and I forgot the words in English. I want to appreciate. I want to appreciate myself for all the effort I'm doing and for all the love and all the passion I put into the business and into the painting, and appreciate that effort and that work and my creativity and all that I that I do. And that's the intention of my true self and more of my inner being, to appreciate myself for that. And it really feels like home when you find out your true intention that comes from within you. It feels like home, and you kind of see that you really don't want to struggle more. You really don't want to punish yourself for anything, and it kind of like goes away. So 10 minutes to go. So that was the example. And now, everything you think about yourself has a good intention. So even though this thing that I was thinking about myself and the fact that I wanted to punish myself, what was the intention behind that? Is that that voice wanted to protect me from some kind of failure and wanted to force me to make more effort so that I succeed. But then this voice, it's not your true voice that knows your true inner being. So your job is really to uncover the truth in you. So my truth was that I was actually feeling satisfied with what I was doing, and I wanted to appreciate, to feel appreciative for my or feel appreciation for my efforts. There's always a payoff, so there is always some benefit of what you think about it. Once you discover it, you can see if that serves you or if it doesn't, and decide what you want to think instead. Because the truth is that we are not our thoughts. That's not you, and this is proven because in the meditation you can just not be anything. So the way you let go, you acknowledge, you accept, you don't judge your thoughts. You ask yourself, what's the payoff? Does it serve me? What do I want to believe instead? What is my true intention? So, 8 minutes to go. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there is anything that was useful for you. What are your 2 lessons? Let me know what are the 2 lessons from the studio talks. What did you learn? What will you keep for yourself? What do you want to try yourself? I'm waiting for you. Guys, I forgot. I totally forgot. So I'm preparing those workshops. And if you're interested, we will be working even deeper into that self-awareness. We will work about the mindset, which we didn't touch today at all. And we will work on those workshops also. There will be painting workshops where we will be creating together art. I will tell you all the five or six secrets that I'm using in my art to create exciting paintings, and how how I can fix the painting very quickly when something is not working, and all those things. I will try to teach you everything I know and I do. And those workshops are not yet available, but you can sign up to the list if you're interested in joining. Of course, this is no commitment at all. You just sign up to an email list, and you will be notified when the doors open. The doors will be open just for 1 week or 5 days or something like this. So it's pretty important not to miss it if that's something you may be interested in. So to sign up, you go to the link in my bio. Lessons for me is that there is my twin sister close to Barcelona. Thanks. Are you ENFP? ENFP, I don't know what is that, so probably no. I don't know. I'm a twin sister to someone. That's because I think you are talking about me. That's sweet. That's fine. That's I don't know. Curious. Personality test. No, I didn't do that personality test. Or maybe I did. Those letters sound familiar to me, but I don't remember. Okay, guys, 17 personalities calm. You can do it there. Okay, guys, so this is also the tip for you. So if you want to go deeper into your personality, you can do that test as well. Okay, guys. Anyone else? I don't know if we have anyone else here with us. Let me know your lessons. What are your main lessons? Is there what will you implement in your life? Or what resonated with you the most? I guess no one's is here anymore. Co robić w życiu? What's your name? Okay, guys. So I wish you a beautiful Easter in those strange circumstances where we are locked at home. I hope everyone in your families and everyone is safe and healthy. And just have a wonderful time. And wish you a beautiful day. Bye bye. Take care.